Welcome to the latest episode of Nurture KC News. This is a podcast brought to you by Nurture KC. We are an organization committed to reducing infant and maternal mortality in Kansas City. My name is Tracy Russell, and I serve as the CEO here. And with me today are Shannon Williams, our Healthy Start Program Director, and Marisol Hernandez, one of our community health workers in Healthy Start. So the topic that we're going to talk about today is the importance of safe sleep, and we're going to run through the do's and don'ts. And believe it or not, unsafe sleep is a leading driver of infant deaths in Kansas City and in the nation. So it's an incredibly important topic, and October is Safe Sleep Awareness Month. So this is done nationwide, and we are happy to be a part of that effort to educate families on the importance of safe sleep. So just by way of background, I wanted to talk about how this education and awareness came into being. So in the 1990s, I'm sure many of you will recall, we had a high instance of what we then termed SIDS deaths, which people considered unexplainable infant deaths, often resulting during an infant's sleep. We've since categorized that as SUID rather than SIDS, which is sudden unexpected infant death. And what happened in the 90s was some of our medical organizations came out with universal recommendations around how to place a baby for sleep. And what they found with that effort that had federal backing with the Back to Sleep campaign, as it became known, is that with some simple tips, we were able to reduce those infant deaths over the decades, and that's borne out through today. So, Shannon, I'd like to start with you. Can you walk us through the basics of safe sleep and often referred to as the ABCs?
Exactly. So the American Association of Pediatricians created the ABC campaign, and that stands for Alone, on Your Back, and in a Crib. So to give greater detail, that means placing infants alone in their own sleep surface, on their back and in a crib. But that crib can also be a portable pack and play. It can be a bassinet for newborns. And then most recently, they added breastfeeding as a supportive method, and then avoiding smoking around babies.
Very helpful. So ABC, alone, on your back, in a crib.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about the myths and facts surrounding safe sleep, because I feel like, some of the guidance has changed over the years. I feel like it's been fleshed out a little more in recent years as far as the recommendations go. So we'll talk about some of the common issues that come up and how we might address those as we educate families. So first of all, let's address this myth that babies sleep best on their stomachs.
Yes, that is false. Babies are safer sleeping on their backs. It's the safest position for infants. It reduces the instance of SUID.
Okay. And then here's another one, especially that we hear about in the winter. Soft bedding is cozy and safe.
Exactly. But soft bedding, pillows, toys in the crib, they all are a risk of suffocation and again, increase the instances of SUID. So cribs should be bare. So that's part of that alone, correct? So no blankets, no pillows, no toys. Instead of blankets, we suggest that babies wear the warmth. So that would be a sleep sack. They come in cotton in the warmer months and fleece when it's colder.
Now that's great to know, because it is true when you've got an infant and all you can think about is how am I going to keep this baby warm, but where the warmth is recommended rather than having blankets or other items in the crib.
Exactly.
Just to protect them. Okay. And we hear a lot about this next one, that co-sleeping is a safe way to bond. And what I mean by that is having the baby in the bed with mom or dad or near them, on them.
Yes, that's a very common myth. What's safer is room sharing. So having the baby sleep surface, their crib, bassinet, or pack and play in the room with mom and dad is always going to be safer than in the bed with mom and dad. And that includes a sofa or a recliner alone on their back and in their own sleep surface or crib.
And I know that, we've run into that one a lot in terms of there might be some cultural links to co-sleeping. And, we do know that parents want to be close to that baby, but having them perhaps next to you in a bassinet is the safest route to go. Okay, so we covered this a little bit earlier, but just for emphasis, babies need to be bundled up to stay warm.
So that is a myth because overheating automatically increases the risk of sudden unexplained infant death. So that's why we say a simple sleep sack is the best solution.
Okay, and let's talk about the sleeping surface itself. What are we looking for when we say an adequate sleeping surface?
Yes. So babies need a firm, flat mattress. So that means that the plush mattresses, adult mattresses, and the pillow top that are great for mom and dad are actually very dangerous for infants and newborns. We want to avoid all soft, squishy surfaces. Some of the other recommendations from the AAP also include parents abstaining from smoking, tobacco, marijuana, illicit drugs, or using alcohol. All these are protective measures to keep babies as safe as possible.
That's very helpful because that's in addition to what we hear often about the safe sleep surface. Shannon, are these recommendations realistic for families? What are some of the barriers that we see and how might we address those?
Absolutely. So there are lots of barriers that families may experience, and those include cultural beliefs, distrust of advice given from the medical field, economic hardships that mean that parents don't have access to a separate sleep surface for their child that can lead to co-sleeping. Parents may just believe that their baby's going to sleep better in their arms, and that comfort that they receive by snuggling the baby. Or it's as simple as a baby falling asleep in a swing or a car seat and mom and dad don't want to wake baby. But what we know, what research shows is that safety matters. And that's why we recommend the ABCs of safe sleep. So this is all about safety and it's not attacking anyone's personal beliefs. It's just about providing the babies the safest opportunity for safe sleep.
Well, and I think this education expands beyond parents. It's to other caregivers, whether that's grandparents, aunts and uncles, other caregivers, because, you know, these notions get passed down generation to generation. And if it's, well, we always did it this way, that can be a little hard to overcome. And so I think that's one of the goals of our education is to do a reset on that. So one of the issues also is parents may sometimes practice safe sleep, but not all the time. And there's almost this false sense of security that, well, it's nap time. I'm right here, so I can leave them in that car seat or other surface, and I'll wake up. I won't fall asleep. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. Research does show that parents are less likely to practice safe sleep during nap time. However, we know that, especially if you think about new parents or parents with a newborn, how tired you're going to be. And so you just can't rely on the fact that you're awake and alert. You want to always provide safe sleep for your child. So we say every time, every sleep, use the ABCs.
Oh, I think that consistency is so important.
Yes.
So rather than just talk about this today, we're actually going to demonstrate it. Mary Saul is going to walk us through a safe sleep demonstration. Mary Saul, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes, of course. So today we're going to demonstrate a proper way to do safe sleep as well as how to assemble a pack and play.
Assembling a pack and play is easy. All its components come bundled together. You're going to start by releasing the Velcro on the outer case and then set that aside. That's the mattress for inside the pack and play. Now that you have the base, you're going to start by assembling the sides, locking the parallel sides together at the same time. Last step is pushing down the center to lock the pack and play in place. Now you're going to add the safety component by inserting the rods in the sides, making sure they're firmly in place. Connecting the inner rods for more stability. Double checking for safety. Now that outer case becomes the mattress. And now your pack and play is all set and ready for baby. There's no need for any additional items. Remember to keep your baby alone on their back and in a crib for baby to sleep safest.
So, Marisol, after providing this demonstration to the families in our Healthy Start program, what are some of the common questions or comments that you receive?
So yes, some of our participants are not aware of how to properly do safe sleep. So as a community health worker, I have the responsibility to teach them the proper way to properly do safe sleep. So we've seen moms that are actually surprised that did not know that you couldn't put any type of blankets or stuffed toys around the crib or around the baby, which could cause SIDS. So that's one of the common causes for SIDS. So they're basically surprised for that, and they did not know. So they are grateful to know the proper way to use the crib.
And do you find that kind of one run through of this is sufficient for families, or do you have anyone ever coming back and saying, hey, could I see that again?
Yes, of course. I usually like to show them a video so they could visually see for themselves how to use Safe Sleep properly.
Wonderful. So, Shannon and Marisol, can you talk a little bit about what we provide by a Healthy Start in addition to the education to help families practice safe sleep?
Absolutely. Each of our families that need it are going to receive a free pack and play. So that includes safe sleep education that's provided in person by their community health worker. And we do a follow up. So we continue to ask, how is your baby sleeping? And that allows us to re-educate if needed. And it also allows us the opportunity to reiterate the importance of safe sleep. So they get the education, but they also get the pack and play as well.
Which I think is so important that they actually have the tool they need to make this happen. And I
Exactly.
think often in these conversations, we lose sight of people having access to the resource.
Yes.
And there has been a years long effort in Kansas City to connect people in need with a safe sleep service like Pack and Plays. And we hope that that will be able to continue because it's just so critically important. And the state of Missouri made safe sleep a priority for 3 years. So we're hoping that these types of efforts will continue. So I wanted to change gears a little bit and just talk about this from a community level and what Nurture KC is doing in regards to safe sleep. So, a couple of years ago, we undertook an initiative to get area hospitals safe sleep certified. And what this means is we would equip hospitals with the ability to provide the education not only to parents, but to their hospital staff, and that they would audit sleep situations in the hospital to make sure that there was compliance with this, and that they would provide parents with the information they need upon departing the hospital. We really felt like this was almost the first line of defense with safe sleep. Hospitals, their staff are often respected leaders. When you've just had a baby, that's who you're listening to, and that would be an opportune time to provide that education and really establish a culture of safe sleep, knowing that the family needs many touches in that regard going forward, but this would be the first one. So, because of that effort, we went from having 2 hospitals in the metro that were safe sleep certified to 8 today. And we keep moving forward with that effort, recognizing that organizationally we're providing that service to the families we serve, but we want to see this metro-wide. So I'm very happy that we undertook that initiative. Shannon, can you tell us what other resources are available in the metro for families?
Absolutely. So locally, you can visit Children's Mercy Safe Sleep, Safe Babies website. They have not only resources and other organizations that provide safe sleep education, but they have videos and pamphlets that are great for families to access. But if you are a provider or another organization and you're looking for resources, you can always go to the National Institute of Health for their Safe to Sleep page. It has access to information in several different languages so that we can provide safe sleep to as many families as possible.
No, that's great news. And I did want to say at the federal level, they have discontinued funding for the Safe to Sleep campaign. So it makes organizations like ours at the state and local level even more important, because this truly is an education campaign. We've proven that we can change this dynamic just by making people aware of the correct practice. And to wrap up here, I just want to say thank you so much to both of you. And thanks to everyone for tuning in today. We do have more information on our website as well on Safe Sleep that you can find at www.nurturekc.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.